Okay, so this is the basic starter kit, which usually houses up to about 50 ants before we need to upgrade. Okay, so let's get into the basics. So this part here, this is our feeding portal. So what we're going to do, the ants will be in the test tube with cotton that's plugging it at the front. We basically take out the cotton and the whole tube with the ants connect onto the feeding portal. Now inside the feeding portal, this is a little lid that lifts, so there we can also place nectar and crickets or protein or any source of food in there for them. Especially when it's still a young and shy colony, they will more likely stay in here before moving to the nest. Now all these guys are modular, so that's fittings that can pull out. This is the straight connector, and then you also obviously get a blocker that can block this off. So that's the feeding portal. Next part will be the nest. Now why we put the red acetates on here is because the ants can't see through red, so for them this is going to look dark. So they would rather move into here than stay in bright light. Now what we're going to need to do here, as you can see there's a sponge inside as well, and small little holes on the inside in the nest. So this is for hydration and humidity for the ants. So we're going to use the spare tube, the empty tube that comes with the kit. We're going to fill it about 3/4 with water, and then a normal little kitchen sponge that we cut off a piece that we are going to stuck into the open end like that. So when we turn it upside down, we don't want the water to pour out, then it means the sponge is too small, then we need to cut a bigger sponge. So if nothing pours out, I usually just end up squishing this a bit until the sponge gets wet, and that guy then literally just pushes inside the nest. So those two sponges that's connecting, that will give the hydration into the nest. That's a setup for that one. And then we have the outworld. So this is like the foraging area for them. It's got a lid on the top for easy access as well. You can put a thin layer of sand at the bottom, and in here you can also put a stone, a little piece of wood, a twig, anything for them to walk around, to forage and to look pretty. Now a good tip that we always do, take normal baby powder, and then we use any cotton swab, and on the inside where my finger is now, we will rub baby powder all the way around on the perspex. That's like a natural ant barrier, because what eventually happens, if there's a lot of ants or there's plenty in the foraging area, you lift up to work, they will start running up and all of them will just come out the top. So that natural barrier will stop them. You're probably going to need to replace it about, difficult to say, but between a month to 3 months. We can just reapply a new barrier layer for them. And then the lid just goes back on top. So these guys are all modular, like I mentioned before, so this can slide out, and later you can add on more nests, more outworlds, so you can end up having as big as possible nest as you want to. Okay, so when you get these guys, they just slide in, and that's literally how the whole nest assembles. So then that's all joined as one complete. With the kit you also get 2 drinkers. Now one we're just going to put plain water, and the other one we're going to put some of this nectar vitamin infused water that we're going to give them. So upside down, that unscrews. The water one we're also going to fill about 3/4 full. We're going to put the lid back on again. And then I usually turn it around in my hand and I give it a few good taps until you see water droplets on your hand. Then you know that that's fine. And then that goes into the outworld for them. And the nectar one, still a small colony, so usually only put about 1/3 of nectar. Same thing, turn around, tap until you feel it on your hand, and that can go back in as well. Now feeding, we're going to need to feed them about twice a week. So once a week we're going to feed them protein, that's in the form of a small little cricket or mealworm that we cut in half, and the other time we can give them some honey. But if you don't want to give honey, the nectar is perfectly fine for that. And also comes with a stopper. So let's say once the ants move over and you want to remove the whole tube and the fitting here, then we can just pull that out, and this stopper, we can just block the hole. But I like to always leave a tube here for extra water as well. So once they moved out, you can take the tube out, clean it, 3/4 full of water, put some cotton in and stick it back in there again. Then there's an extra source of water. Now another part on here. Okay, here on the inside, that's like a small little tray for them. So we can pull that out, and inside there we can also put some of the nectar or honey, and that just pushes back in again. And then everything can just reassemble for now. But that can pull out while it's on the nest. And that's the whole setup. Easy as that, simple. And the only other thing, ideally, yeah, like I say, we want them to move into the nest. But sometimes they are very, very stubborn and they will stay in the tube where they are in for months. But don't worry about that. They will move once they feel ready, or when the tube gets too full, they will also move to the nest parts. Okay, so that's basically the full setup.